This episode is fueled by Mountain Ops, supplements to conquer more and crush your countdowns. Visit mountainops.com for all your supplemental needs. Fuel, recover, repeat.
What's up, Leighton?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. You got a sweet setup back there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is this the home gym?
that's my home gym.
Love it. This is mine. It's a little different.
Hey, a gym is a gym.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything you could lift some weights.
Yeah.
This one's not mine, so I can't compete. All right, well, let's just jump into it. Welcome back to Countdown 2 podcast. I'm your co-host, Drew.
I'm Leighton.
Wow, delay on that one.
Said it immediately after you said
we
it.
have the honor to sit down. Oh, no, so it's my connection.
Yeah.
It's my
Drew,
connection,
your internet
isn't it?
sucks.
Oh, curses. Yeah, well, I'm still on dial-up, and I refuse to adapt. No, today we have the honor and the privilege to sit down with a towering figure, both physically and in presence. Yeah, buddy. A retired Battalion Chief, global hunter, cold plunge advocate, and a highly respected member of this community. This guest brings decades of discipline. That makes you feel old, doesn't it? Grit and lived experiences. Approaching 50?
Yes.
Approaching 50,
couple months.
and he represents a rare combination of seasoned toughness, peak physical conditioning, proving that evolution doesn't stop with age, it sharpens.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Thank you for having me. Towering is kind of you're pushing it. 5'9", it's I make some shade. But it's got to be early.
Yeah. No, but there's a presence that happens when you're around Vasquez. Like, so I had the honor of meeting you. The summit was that 2024.
Yes, 24 and 25.
Yeah, so yourself, Baca, who we just had on last week,
Yep.
and we decided to get an Airbnb together, and you guys were like, hey, we'll pick you up at the airport. It's all good. So anyways, I'm waiting at the airport, Salt Lake City Airport, and you're like, hey, I'm in a black car. Okay, cool. That gives me a lot to go off of.
I'm in a hoopty.
Yeah. So this Honda Civic or something pulls up.
Oh,
The top is all bashed in. I mean, it looks like somebody went to town with golf balls, hitting it as target practice or something like that. These two giant, huge men are sitting in front seat, and there they are. I mean, like, their presence was just like, wow, I am so awesomely in awe and humbled by this experience. So that was my first time seeing you in person. So
That was quite a trip.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt like I got a little cocky to where it was just like, hey, let's go find some trouble. I got these two big dudes with me. Let's go find some trouble.
I think the car was already a magnet that
For trouble.
that impression out,
No joke. No joke. So
I have to forward you that picture of that car.
that's right. Exactly. I think it
Yeah.
went through a hailstorm or something like that, and they didn't tell you.
Yeah. That's probably why we got a good price on it,
That's right. Exactly.
What
Got the
a
hail
steal,
price.
literally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when people hear about you for the first time, they usually start with your size and presence because you're just a big dude. I mean, in an awesome way. It's awesome. So, but those who have been around you, it's more about consistency and discipline. How do you define yourselves beyond what people see on the surface or even see online?
I don't know. I just think that, just in the fitness world itself, going through so many failures, starting up and then failing, going a little longer and failing. And I think just finally being able to find the consistency and doing it. And it's more of when I do post, it's more for me. So it comes back next year, I get to see it, right? And I get to see where I was at last year versus where I'm at today. So,
Sure.
a lot of people always say that, like, oh, you're consistent, you're always there. And I'm just an old fashioned guy, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm getting up there in age. I wish I could go back to my 20-year-old self, tell him what I know, and let him know, hey, like, you're going to be all right. but if you start right now, you'll be so far ahead. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of how I take it, and if I'm inspiring for somebody, I think that's great. I think everybody needs a cheerleader, and I want to be that for you,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've built a reputation in the community as someone who lives what they preach. What do you think people misunderstand about you when they only see the highlights?
I mean, there's a lot of failures behind that,
Yeah.
you know. Like I said, I'm a simple guy. I just I'm able to now prioritize my time. Where I think I posted a couple weeks ago, do we never have time, or do we just not prioritize it correctly? Retired, I went 6 months without working, so I had all day to work out or do whatever I wanted. So my schedule changed. And then I decided to dip back into the work world and the workforce. And, I had to get up at 4 a.m. to get ready to get to work. And so for a little bit, it was just out of whack. And I felt lost. And I knew the answer, right? Wake up at 3, work out at 3 or do cardio at 3, and then come back in the afternoon and lift. And it sucks. But I can tell you that 3 o'clock in the morning workout at noon, I'm still energized. I'm still living. Where when I decided to skip it or try to make a plan on my own, at noon, I was dragging. And coming home, I was already making excuses to not work out. Like I should rest, to another day of work. I got to get dinner ready. I've got, all these things that everybody has them.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so yeah, just being able to prioritize and make it count. Now, are they always great ones? No. Sometimes it's just picking up weight and going through the motion, but it is still better than sitting in my living room. Man, I wish I would have lifted today, the channel.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Hey, let's back up real quick.
All right.
Your journey with mountain ops. When did you find
Well,
them and what do they mean to you?
so I'll take you back a little further.
Okay.
The December of 2011, I went hunting with my buddy Chad. He's actually a retired firefighter now, but he was a firefighter when I was there. And we called him Captain America. And he was the true kickoff to my journey. But when I looked in the mirror, I still saw myself as a high school athlete, college athlete, just an athlete in general. But we went on a elk hunt, and we were probably like a mile from the truck, and we got 2 up down. The sun was going down, so we decided we're gonna get 1 out and then come back in the morning. We didn't pack lights. We didn't pack for the night, right? And he was like, all right, we got to go. And it was so embarrassing because I'd probably take like 5 steps and I would have to stop, take a couple of steps and then stop. And he never said anything, but I could see it on his face. And we finally made it to the truck. I'm embarrassed. I'm disappointed. We get back to the cabin. I go directly to bed. I mean, I'm beat. And anyway, we go that next day. We get him out. We come back home. And, I just can't stop thinking of that moment.
Yeah.
And so then I think it was like close to New Year's. We're laying in bed and my wife's like, hey, jokingly, what's your New Year's resolution? And I just simply said, hey, I'm gonna run a half marathon. I think I've never run probably 3 miles in my entire life, consistent. And so that was the change for that. But I was 268 pounds. Through that time up to like 2017, 18, I was in that supplement roller coaster where I would take this supplement because everybody was taking it. I would take this supplement because their ads were, they're going to make you bigger, stronger, all the fads, right?
Yeah.
And then one night I was looking through supplements and Mountain Ops popped up. I think it was like that 2017, 2018, somewhere right there. And I thought, I'll give it a try. So I tried some of their Ignite, or not their Ignite, their Yeti. And I really just focused on Yeti. I didn't take any other supplements.
Right.
And then I just remember one night at the station, I was just kind of scrolling on the computer, went to their website, right? Started reading their core values, started looking at what their company stood for. And I thought, man, like all these other companies I've been to, none of that is shown.
Right.
And so I just really jumped in. And I'm one of those guys that if it really works and I like it, man, I'm all in. and I've been there since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. No, that's great. I appreciate that because it gives a nice backstory too. We love hearing the origin stories of just the involvement, and then also hearing people's stories of just like, hey, here's a changing point. In your case, the hunting, infamous hunting trip, where it's just like I got to change, or else, kind of thing. So we appreciate that. Now, as a career firefighter, you were hired as a firefighter, promoted to driver, engineer, then captain, then retired recently as a battalion chief. You
Yeah.
spent years in a profession where showing up physically and mentally really was a must. What did that career demand from you that most people will never fully understand? And then, do you miss much of it?
I miss the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I really miss the guys. I do get, calls and texts every now and then, but I think if anything, it was more the mental. I had to be two individuals, one when I was at home
Mm-hmm.
and one when I was on shift, dealing with trauma, death, fire, domestic violence, you name it. Our job is posted to it, right?
Sure.
I think the hardest part was coming home and having to change. And sometimes you'd have a bad night and that change was hard.
Sure.
And so mentally, when I retired, before I retired, I had a couple of buddies that came up and said, hey, there's going to be a point that you're going to go through some mental issues. All those traumas that you don't remember, they're going to come knocking. And I was thankful for that information, but I never really put much thought into it. I was just kind of trying to get to the next day. September came when I retired. I went to, my daughter's playing college soccer. So September and October, all we did was travel. So I was always busy, always on the road. And then her season ended in November. And that's when I realized what 24 hours looks like with no plan. And
Right.
there was probably like 2 weeks where it was pretty dark. And the way I explain it to my wife is, and I'm so thankful for my wife because she was, my therapist, right? I would talk to her about it when she got home, and she would ask questions. She saw a lot of the signs, but I would tell her, like, I could drive down the street in Hobbs and I could be driving and I'd be like, oh, I was there because of a shooting. Oh, I was there because of a fire. Every time I drove by a house, that's exactly what the image I saw was: the fire trucks there, the scene, right?
Right.
And now I can go by those houses and they're just houses.
Oh, good.
Love that.
So yeah, definitely a mental toll. The sleep pattern, man, night and day versus shift. I don't ever get to sleep, and if I do, it's not very good. Retiring and getting that first 2 weeks of just consistent sleep, my body just adapted and just took off. So yeah, it's the best job in the world, but it does take a toll. On your mental, physical. Working out is a great therapy,
Yeah.
but it's also a purpose. I always try to stay in shape. My younger years, I was dumb, naive. I was just kind of, I got the uniform and I should be able to do everything. I think the true statement is I had that uniform and there's so much work behind it to get into that uniform. And people
Fill
don't.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on the healthy side of firefighting and it building a different kind of toughness, what good parts of the job still show up in how you train and
I
live
think
today?
training wise, it's more. I don't think training wise ever changes, right? So firefighting versus mountains, you're still having to, you want to put a pack on, you got to put an SCBA on. So a lot of that stuff kind of goes hand in hand. What firefighting did was it gave me that fast decision making. And I always giggle because you can get a firefighter and say, hey, we're going to do a scenario. I'm going to put this house right here. That top right corner is going to be on fire. And then you're going to have 2 people inside. I want you to rescue them. And they will bomb it because they're over planning. But if you up to a house and said, hey, this house is on fire and that right corner is burning and there's 2 people inside, he's going to knock it out because that's his thought process is that way rather than planning, right?
Sure.
So yeah,
No, that makes sense.
That's
You
cool.
spoke a little bit already about the mental toll that it takes, of always being on, always prepared, always activating that fight or flight mechanism inside of us. You spoke a little bit about working out and how that would help you combat compassion fatigue. I don't know if you've heard that term before. I'm sure you have. Um, Often in caregiving and those in emergency services have that. So working out sounds like an answer to help fight that. There's a question in here. I'm trying to think of exactly where I'm going with it, but how do you, how, I guess, I mean, just how did you deal with compassion fatigue? Or is
you
that even
just
talked about much in your circles,
it's not right. I mean, so we were a 48-96 department. So 48 hours we were on shift, 96 off. So 48 hours we were just whatever you're gonna throw at us, you're gonna get the best of us, right?
Yeah.
So we're used to uh, a little bit of rest with high action. And so we are a dual service. So we have ambulance and fire. So
Right.
we do both, right? So, when I rode the ambulance, there was times where, we would be back in at 8 in the morning and then we would go on a call and we probably wouldn't come back till 8 o'clock that night just because it's nonstop. And
Right.
so you have to you really just got to embrace that suck, right? I mean, for 48 hours, because what do you do?
There's no other
The,
option. Yeah.
the people who are calling you aren't going to be like, oh, you're tired, come back later when you're rested.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing too, is I mean, so many people outside of that service is looking at it like the glam life. You guys just eat well, work out, and then you get all the ladies because you're in
Sit on the
the
recliners.
calendars.
Right? Sit on the recliners.
Yeah, that's the truth, right? Um,
Yeah. The other side though is the guys push you to go work out. Those
Yeah.
days that you don't feel it. And most of the time, the days that you don't feel like working out, those are the best workouts.
hmm.
So if you always just remember that, like, I don't feel it, as soon as you start going, that that mentality goes away.
Sure.
Yeah. In a different life, Drew was actually an EMT, and
Oh,
when I
come
was
on,
a
don't
kid, and I
don't.
remember him talking about taking things home. Well, shut up, Drew. And and it taught me a lot of just like, I don't know if I want to do something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know how you guys do what you do. Like,
No,
Yeah.
crazy.
but I get you though. I mean, because there's a couple towns around here that I was only on ambulance, and but I get it where it was just like I'll be driving down the street and with my wife and be like, oh yeah, there's where we had the cardiac arrest. There was where we had this
Right.
MVA. This is and that's how I know these places. And I honestly I burnt out. I just even just with the ambulance schedules and everything, it was too much. I had to get out. So
Yeah.
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 kudos to you for
I'm so grateful for the life it gave me. I mean, it gave me way more than I ever could have imagined. The training, the knowledge, um, the retirement. I mean, it was a job that I enjoyed going to every time.
Mm-hmm.
But I could tell you towards the end of my career, I thought for a minute I was going to stay 3 or 4 more years. That was my plan. And I woke
Yeah.
up one day and me and the wife were having coffee and I said, I think I'm going to retire. And she kind of giggled and she was like, how about you just sleep on it? Just sleep on it. Don't make, a rational decision. Don't jump to it. And so I was like, okay, and so I woke up the next day and I was like, I think I'm going to retire. And she was like, it's your career whenever you're ready. And, I prayed about it but I was at that point where I was tired.
Yeah.
And usually, you come off a shift, you have a whole day where you kind of wasted away by resting or whatever. And I'm not that type. I can't sit still. Right. And so I didn't get the rest I wanted, but the older I got, man, it was just like, man, I need 2 days. If I stayed up all night, I need 3 days. And so I just
Yeah.
thought it was a good time for me and my family. And so,
Did
yeah, it was a sad time, but I was ready. And
Yeah.
that's why I don't think that I missed the calls. And, I do miss
Yeah.
the guys, but the other stuff, man, yeah.
I was curious if your growing family had a little bit of part in that with grandkids and all that coming on scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big thought. I have 2 grandkids now, 2 grandsons, and I missed so much time with my family. Birthdays, holidays, anniversaries. Um, I'm very thankful for the support I had from my family.
Yeah.
And, my wife, she rocked it. I mean, a single parent, for what, a third of the year.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just thankful that of the relationship I have with my family, but sitting at the station on Christmas is not what I wanted.
Right.
And
Exactly.
That's not where it's
But
at. And
yeah,
respect to you for making that decision.
yeah,
Because I feel like some people they get stuck there and they just
right,
stay in a rut. So
yeah,
and by the way, I got the honor of meeting your wife as well last year.
yeah,
Awesome lady. Awesome lady. Kudos to her. So shout out to her. So, um, one thing that I've heard you say over and over again, kind of switching gears here a little bit, but when it comes to encouragement, encouraging others, helping
Mhm.
others in their journey and their, you know, physical and even mental changes, like you seem to be really dead set against comparisons.
Yeah,
And how I experienced this firsthand with you when we were at the Airbnb, because I don't
uh,
even remember what I said, but you're like, Drew, stop
it
comparing. I
went from
think
a
that's
casual conversation to a real quick.
yeah,
thank
exactly. And
you.
like
Thank you.
I was a little bit like, who's this? What's this guy? I should beat him up. No, I can't. But uh, no. It was more like, oh my gosh, like dude, he's calling me on the carpet here.
Yeah,
And but there was passion behind it. There was just this, I knew you enough to trust you, and this
right.
passion behind it. So, um, yeah, your thoughts. Pray
Yeah,
tell.
I think it was because we were running in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were going running that next morning. But yeah, I think it just steals your joy, man.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think when you start comparing yourself to others, you don't know their path and their
Yeah.
drive, right? And
Right.
and to me, I mean, I'm that individual that I'm on my path. And if you come tag along, I mean, it's cool, but at some point we're gonna have a why, right? And I'm gonna go on my path and you're gonna go on
Yeah.
yours. But
Yeah.
I used to be that guy. I used to be like, man, look at that guy. He could have been in the gym 5 years before I even started. I
Sure.
can't start where he's at, right? So, um, and then I have daughters that are athletes,
Hmm.
and they're always trying to be that next level. And if you want to be that next level, your foundation has to be strong, but it has to be your foundation. And so, yeah, I'm not a fan when people start comparing themselves to other, because they shoot themselves down. I mean, ooh, look at all the gain you've done, right? And so that's something to be proud of. And like the Facebook stuff, right? So when I look back on my pictures from last year, I don't see it until that picture pops up. So last year, I think I was like about 220, 216. I still see myself like that today. So when I look in the mirror in 2011, I saw this chiseled guy who was just an athlete, right? But when I really looked in that mirror, I saw a guy who was out of shape, ate everything he wanted, was a drinker, just you name it. If it was on the table, I was probably going to have it, right? So when you compare yourself, you should compare yourself to where you were at yesterday, last week, last month. Like, that's the only comparison that matters.
Sure.
So that's just how I feel about that, and just, it takes a lot of, the drive out of people when they see somebody who's killing it and they're not there, right? What they don't see is all that time and effort that they did to get to that point. All the struggles,
exactly.
all the peaks and valleys, right? So
The ups and downs.
So yeah, I try to,
No,
anytime and if I don't know you, I'm probably not gonna say anything. But if I do know you, then I'm gonna confront that, because I want that to get out of your head, so you stay on your path and you continue to move forward.
right. And
Yeah.
I still trip up with that. Just, I think it's a lifelong thing I've dealt with. But you come to mind every time I do. I'm like, hey, okay, Vasquez says,
Yeah.
back off.
Yeah, and you're not the only one, right? I mean,
Sure.
you,
100%.
I'm the same way, but I always have to remind myself, like, my path is my path, and we're gonna make it what we need to make it.
Yeah. Stop comparing yourself to me, okay?
Yeah.
It's my brotherly duty to get on him when he does
To
too.
keep him
And I
down,
do.
right?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that too, yeah.
No, I raise him up. I just knock him down a little bit. And
Oh, there you go.
But well, it's funny because like almost everyone we've had on here has talked about comparison, and I keep meaning to look up the actual quote. But comparison is the thief of joy.
Thief of joy.
And I guess that was attributed to Teddy Roosevelt, which I thought was interesting. And when calling someone out, I mean, it's a challenge, calling someone out like that, and it can go either way. What's your
Right.
mindset when delivering tough truth to someone you respect or love?
Well, I think if you have that respect and that love, then they're knowing it's not an attack,
Yeah.
right? If I didn't ever cheer Drew on, if I didn't ever try to motivate him, then that conversation could have gone either way, right? But we're in an environment where, we want success. I want him to be successful. And
Yeah.
so if it ever turns, and it's also your stance, right? If I'm puff chested and I'm pointing down to you, probably not the best to
Yeah.
do it. So yeah, that's why I always say, though, if I don't know you, chances are, I mean, I'm saying anything. Yeah.
Hey, well, then I feel honored because I got the Vasquez preach. So
He knows you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's right,
I just
exactly.
want you to be successful, kill your goals.
Yeah, no, awesome, man. And I appreciate that. It's always nice to have that. I think too often than not, we don't have people in our lives that will speak truth, and which is kind of nice because it's like, oh, nobody's like, um, pointing out my flaws, but it's also like, no, this sucks because iron should be sharpening iron. We should be
Right.
challenging each other and building each other up and seeing how far we each can go. I mean, I just went to a gym with a buddy of mine last week, and it was just nice because he'd add some extra weight, and it's like, okay, here we go, and so there's that
Right.
aspect, but there's also calling each other out on certain things too. So
But
it
and
definitely
you
helps.
said calling it out, right? It's just an accountability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
It's just an
right.
accountability, right? And I need the accountability just like you need it. And if you ever called me out, I mean, then I know it's not like a personal attack. It's like, hey, Vasquez, you better step it up, you know?
Yeah, you're kind of slacking here, Vasquez.
Yeah,
Well, and as good men, we should want that too. So,
right,
it's a good thing. We should I'm not doing great, tell me. Or like my spouse, it's like I hurt you or upset you, tell me,
right.
it's keeping accountability. It's a very, very important.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I kind of Facebook stalked you, because that's what Facebook is for, right? And so
right.
looking in your past, and I'm sorry, I got a cold, so there might be some coughing fits, but
Yeah, I
Me
got some white
too.
food going, so
yeah, Layton can edit it all out, but do like a dolphin noise whenever we cough. Um, but it sounds like, yeah, 2011 was that turning point for you. Obviously for the right reason of just like that. I was embarrassed. And that seemed to be that shift. I'm going to steal Leighton's question here. Was that transformation? Was that change that you had to make? When you told your wife, "Hey, you know what? New Year's resolution, I'm going to run a half marathon." Was that change more physical, or did it start with something mental that most people just wouldn't see?
I think it was both because again, I've never ran a half marathon, so I had no idea even how to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Physically, I live in Hobbs, New Mexico. It is as flat as it can possibly be. So there's no sightseeing here, and so getting a plan, but mentally it was like, oh my goodness, I just did my call and voiced it. Now what are you gonna do? What are
Right.
you gonna do for her? And so yeah, so the mental part was just getting that that plan that like you set a date, here it is. On that date we're gonna go. And the crazy thing was that we all ran that day. I think my kids ran a 5K. I ran a
Oh,
half
nice.
marathon, ran a 5K. So it was like you better be at that starting line because the other four people in your family are going to be at that starting line. So yeah, but physically, I think
Right. Right.
rolling those steps, my body hurt. Um, I learned a lot because I didn't lift. I thought, man, if I just need the straight cardio. So I lost a lot of weight, but also lost a lot of muscle. And when I say I lost a lot, I think I got to like
Mm.
220. But that was probably the lightest I've been in a while. I think when I did the fire academy, I got
Hmm.
to like 230. Um, but I mean, my body ached all the time. My legs hurt. Um, and then it was like always having to go run. And it just
Yeah.
felt more like a job than it did like what it does today, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of body hurting and all that stuff, let's jump down to turning 50 and
Oof.
redefining what's possible there. Leighton, you want to start us off with that one?
Yeah. Yeah, since you stole mine.
I combined a
That was my
couple.
favorite
You gotta
question.
steal
You
one
took.
of his now.
All right, hey, go back and ask.
Well, it's
the
because his question
again.
above was stupid, so he took mine. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're approaching 50, but you're operating at a level most people never reach. What does that milestone mean to you personally?
Oh, I mean, 20 years ago, I would have never told you this is exactly where I would be at in this moment physically.
Yeah.
Um, but I always think of I always think of being able to hang out with my kids when we travel, going on trips and hanging out with them. Grandkids now. I want to be that grandfather that can run in the park with your kids or go watch them play soccer and not struggle to get to that just to go witness that moment, right?
Yeah.
But 50, Man, it's like my wife's like, this is the biggest year you turned 50, you know, and I'm like, I turned 49, you know, I turned 48.
Just
But
another day.
it's just another day. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
So
awesome.
that's
I
what the
in
50.
my young age, with getting healthy, I was very much like, because I have a 4 and a 7-year-old, and I was just like, every
Mhm.
time they want to wrestle or do something or go out, ride bikes or whatever, it's like, I want to be able to. Like, I want to say yes. And like, no, I always get the image of like a parent that can't and won't. And they are like, heartbrokenly have to say, like, I can't. And it's because they really can't. So, yeah, it's a very good motivator.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter how old I am, I'm a father, right? It doesn't matter how old I am, I'm still a father. And so I still think that we're creatures of habit, right? I have a daughter that plays college soccer. I have a 26-year-old that uh, still works out. I have a 20-year-old still works out. She's fixing to run a 4-mile race. My daughter in college, she's like, Dad, I got to build endurance. Let's hit up some half marathons this summer. So proud moment, right? Because I can do that. I get to go and run that, you know, where you see some parents and they're like, hey, I'll just
Yeah.
wait for you at the finish
That's
line.
amazing.
You know, I'm going to run with my daughter. You know, we come in here and we work out, and that is, I mean, those are moments
Right.
that I cherish. I miss them because, you know, they're all grown up now. So, you know, this summer, this will be the hangout place. There'll be some Def Leppard, Metallica playing on the speaker
As they should.
and weights dropping. So, you know, I can't wait for those moments, but I get to participate in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a unique place to be, because most parents, they can only cheer from the sidelines or whatever, which is an important thing. But you're grinding with them right next to side by side, and that's awesome. I'm stoked.
Yeah, leading by example. And you know, I was goal planning the other day, a couple years out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be 50. Um, but it was also like, oh, Vasquez is 50. Okay, there's a lot, a lot more life to be had, and a lot I can still do, kind of a thing. So thank you for leading the way and encouraging that age.
Oh, dude, you're still climbing a life up there. So I'm just excited to be part of it.
This episode is outfitted by Pendulum Threads, built for the hybrid athlete. Whether you're in the gym, on the trail, or chasing your next challenge, their gear moves with you. Head to pendulumthreads.com and use code COUNTDOWN2 for 15% off your order. Pendulum Threads. Perfect comfort, perfect performance.
Vasquez, what would you say to someone who feels like they've missed their window to become their best physically?
What is that if I mean, I don't know about window, but what if one door closes, another one opens? You know, you got to take it day by day, moment by moment. And I mean, it's like this. Even at the age of 50, it's still grinding uphill. I don't ever know if it ever flattens out or if it, you know, I'm just trying to stay away from that backside where everything just goes down. But you know, you got to start. Just take it day by day. You know, the first step is make a plan. Make a plan, stick to it, enjoy the failures, enjoy the process. If I knew that when I was younger, I think I would have been so far ahead. But just learning the process and enjoying it and laughing at the failures instead of being disappointed. Yeah, I didn't work out today. I'm gonna hit it tomorrow. Not like it's all done and now we gotta start over next week or next month, you know? So that's just my thought on that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, appreciate it. All right, so for this next set of questions, we took a poll on what everybody wants to hear from Vasquez, what everybody's interested in, and they all came back. Every one of them said, "Ask about the magical quads." So let's jump into your legendary
The
lower body, the
magical
story
quads.
behind the magical quads. Your quads, yeah, your quads have become somewhat legendary. People actually talk about them. We actually didn't do a poll, but
Oh
I know
man.
that if we did, it would have been. But what's the real story behind building them up? Because like you'll see dudes who are absolutely ripped, but their legs are chicken legs, or they're pretty even out built, but like your quads take on a residency of their own. I mean, they're massive.
I mean, I I wish I
Yeah.
could just say the genetic. That would be the easiest answer. But I look at my dad,
No,
my
this is what
grandfather, my
this is what we want to
uncles,
hear, man.
my sister. I mean, legs have a workout day too. I don't
Yeah,
know. I think it just has a lot to do with the
they're missed a lot.
workouts, the running. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wish I could. I don't know. It's just working them. So
Yeah, it's making sure you're
yeah,
dedicating time to it when a lot of people skip
right.
leg day. Like that is a known thing. So it's that simple.
Yeah,
It's not
and I
like, oh,
can't.
I
I mean,
did all
genetics.
this hard.
I think genetics has some of it. If you look at my daughter Trinity, she's got some quads, and they're cut, defined. But if you look at her workouts too, right, there are a lot of squats, running, sprints.
Yeah,
So, I mean, maybe there's a correlation there. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if they're
sure.
That's cool.
legendary. They're just able to get me around.
They get me around. I love it. Ever tried squashing a watermelon with them?
No, no, no. I haven't jumped on that wagon
Not
yet.
yet. Maybe we
Not
should bring one
yet.
to the summit.
Yeah, let's do it at the summit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah, so did you instill let's jump into literally jump into cold plunges. Did you
Mm,
we would always see you do videos of cold plunges at the firehouse. Did you
yeah.
initiate that? Did anybody join you?
I did. I've got some funny videos because everybody thinks it's easy. You
No.
know, I
Oh,
did them. I mean, I jumped on that wagon of the fad of everybody doing it, and so
Hmm.
what I got out of it was number one, that's the hardest thing I'm gonna do at the beginning of the day. Everything else is pretty simple. It does make my body feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know about the whole 8, 9, 10 minutes. I'm 3 to 5 is good for me. Um, it's out of service right now, which is a bummer, but I have a pool and that is just as cold and even
Oh
harder
wow, okay.
to get into. Yeah.
Dang.
So
Nice.
yeah. If I don't dive in, I don't submerge totally in the pool. So it's that mental shock.
Commit.
As soon as I walk into it, I'm defeated. I won't dunk.
Yeah.
yeah.
But the ice bath, for some reason, just the hardest part is sitting down. And once I'm sitting down, that's it. My mentality changes. I started listening to scripture when I do it, and I'll listen to a passage, and then I'll just kind of, I try not to let my mind go travel, because
Sure.
as soon as I do that, it's like I got to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a really big mountain bike destination that Drew and I go to every summer, and at the end, it's a very long mountain bike ride, but at the end there's glacier rivers, and everyone just jumps in there, and it's so refreshing. Like, it's hard at first, but when you get back out, because it's hot,
Right.
it's hot outside. It's wonderful. It's like, this feels
Yeah,
great.
to tell you a story, I can jump in an ice bath. I struggle in a jacuzzi. Yeah.
Just overheating or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I understand that. I don't stay in the hot tub that long either. So
I end up rising above it.
yeah, exactly. Hey, let's get into some fun stuff. Let's talk about hunting around the world. So you've hunted all over the world. What is it about the hunt that keeps you coming back for more?
I think it's just the challenge and the unknown. And when you take like mental pictures, you get to see country that nobody else is going to get to see unless they make that same journey. A
Yeah,
picture off your phone is not gonna even do anything to what you see visually. So So yeah, and then just the challenges, it's a big game of hide and go seek, and they are very good. They are very good.
Right?
Cat and
Exactly.
mouse.
Cat and moss.
There's a discipline and respect that comes with hunting at that level, and a lot of it that we've learned talking to all these mountain op guests. How has it shaped your mindset outside of it?
Um, I mean, you're taking a life, right?
Mm.
So, you always pray over it, giving thanks. Don't take it for granted.
Hmm.
But the change, or the discipline, the waking up early, the long hikes. Sometimes you walk 7, 8, 10 miles and you don't see an animal at all. Right? You just went hiking. But I would get up and do it again, right? So, and then just the thought process, trying to, I don't know, if you're trying to think like an animal, where would they go? It's sunny, so they're going to be bedded. Where's the shade? Where's the water? So just all these challenges, do you have the right pack? Do you have all the gear you need in that pack? Are you doing a day trip? Do you go back to your vehicle or camp? So
Hmm.
I just think all those little challenges, I like challenges, and I like the unknown.
Let's jump back to mountain ops real quick. In early 2024, they sent out an ad saying, "Hey, what does mountain? I believe it was something to the tune of what does mountain ops mean to you?" And the winner gets to go to Africa to hunt.
Yeah,
You recall that? Do you recall your answer?
I do.
I mean, it was like an essay, but still.
I mean, I went over their core values, and
Hmm.
how those core values have shaped me, right? I mean, when you wear that logo, to me, it's a badge of honor, right?
Right.
And when you look at their core values, you don't want to be that one guy that tarnishes that brand. So, I have a ton of mountain ops, and I usually wear it every day, but it's by design, right? It reminds me. It
Hmm.
reminds me to the golden rule, right? Treat everybody how you want to be treated, and you know, God is the center of our life. So, all those types of things. And so that's what my video was, is just how the values that I picked and how I choose to use them in my life, and just how it shaped it.
No,
So
that makes total sense. I mean, even with the logo, like you said, I remember putting a sticker on my car, and I was like, I got to drive different now because I'm representing something that's way above me. So, yeah, no, it's definitely impactful like that. So,
I remember our parents. I'd asked them like why we didn't put like a Jesus fish on our car, and it was like because I don't want people to hate God because of how I'm driving. And I was like, okay, that's fair.
yeah,
we like God, but their drivers are a-holes. Oh, yeah.
So funny. Was there a particular from that trip? Was there a particular animal or experience that challenged you in a way you didn't expect?
I think the hunt in general was great, but there was a moment where we all the mountain ops crew, when they went hunting, we all separated, and then we would come back at lunch, and then
Mm.
we'd take off in the evening. But there was one
Mm.
time where we went up on the mountain, and we drank some hot ignite, and we were above the clouds.
Oh,
Huh.
And
Wow.
that one stands out. But as much as I love to hunt, and as much as I love to be in outdoors, the part of the trip that I would go back again and just do this part was the conquer hunger.
mm.
Yeah.
We had a
Okay.
day where we did that, and we made 500 sandwiches. We went to a couple of schools and dropped off some food there, and we were able to hang out with the kids. And then the last event was kind of like what we would call a boys and girls club.
Okay.
And so we got to play some rugby with the kids. And one of the kids had just a bunch of plastic wrapped up that made a ball.
Huh.
And
Wow.
that kid had so much joy kicking that ball, playing soccer. And and then when the event was done, as they filed out, we were handing them those sandwiches and those
Hmm.
snacks. And I don't know. I mean, to me, that was the highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
I mean, and I got to see some amazing country. I got to hang out with some amazing people, but out of the whole trip, that stands out. And I think just being able to go and be a servant, right? And think the things that I take for granted, you
Right.
know. So when I feel like I'm down in the dirt, you know, I mean, I'm still truly blessed.
Hmm.
So I think that moment was, man, and I want to go to an event again for a Conquer Hunger. If I can get our schedules to line up, it would be awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that because you could easily look at that trip as, hey, I got to kill this animal and,
Right.
animals that aren't around here and all that stuff like that. But what you really gravitated towards was the service piece to the community. And I love that. That's just shows a true heart behind you.
Yeah. Beautiful answer.
Of that, though, what animals did you shoot?
I got a springbuck, an impala, blesbuck, and a blue wildebeest.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard of
I,
those
I
things.
almost had a baboon, but he was like 1,300 yards away, and I don't know where my shot went, but
Huh.
Not at him.
not at him. Yeah, he wasn't scared at all.
Crazy.
But
So, did they package it and send it home to you, or what? How did that work
yeah,
out?
so you can't bring the meat home, but we were
Okay.
able to have it for dinner and sample everybody's meal, everybody's
Okay.
kill. Um, I they did package all the horns and caped out the fur and shipped it
Okay.
down. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Did you get them mounted?
yeah. So I have 3 of them in the house right now, that are Euroed, and then the blue wildebeest is getting mounted.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
So cool.
Not many people have a wildebeest in their house, I'm sure.
That they
I mean, I
shot
don't.
themselves.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
From South Africa.
Yeah, from South
Yeah.
Africa, exactly.
Okay.
Crazy.
Switching gears a little bit too now. Again, we're kind of jumping all over the place, but
Oh, it's all
this
good.
doesn't have to be long. I'm just curious. What's the New Mexico to Chicago Bears fandom connection? Like I look at you and nothing screams Chicago.
Oh man, a monster of the Midway. That doesn't scream for you?
I mean,
Because he's a bear.
we're West Coasties,
Oh, yeah. I guess your area took home the Super Bowl this year, right? Seattle, you're in that area.
Oh, and I was just saying, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But we're both 49er fan. We grew up closer to the Bay Area, so
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm only a couple hours from the Bay.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So my whole family is Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, see,
And
I'll respect Bears with you more than Cowboys.
Yeah.
So,
I just remember watching the game, Mike Singletary just pacing back and forth, fixing to rip somebody's head off, and I was like, that's my guy.
Yes,
You know, and then Dan Hampton.
oh, so you're old school Bears.
Yeah. So old school, and then in high school I played against Brian Urlacher.
Okay.
He probably is 60 miles from where I grew up. So we were big rivals. Watched him in college, and then Chicago made that magical pick, and it just kept me going, and it's tough to be a Bears fan.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's tough.
It's getting better.
yeah. I was gonna say though, being a Bears fan requires a certain level of toughness and loyalty for sure. So that's
Yeah.
almost a training in itself.
So Chicago Bear fans, there's nobody jumping on the wagon. So those fans are true fans.
That's right. Exactly. The
Yeah.
diehards.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dan Keck, our third episode? He's a huge Bears fan. We almost got in a fight over it. So you just became his new best friend. So
Yeah.
You've built more than just strength. You've built influence. What does brotherhood mean to you at this stage of life? And as we've talked, but you kind of losing your brotherhood in your station because you retired. What does this stage of life look for you? How are you going to replenish that or Or where are you
The
going to look
community
to?
side.
Yeah.
You know, I
I mean,
mean,
we would be there for you, obviously, but we're a little
right.
bit far
I
away.
think that to me that's the definition of brotherhood, right? It did. It's great in the fire service because you know you if you go down in a fire, those guys are gonna do whatever they can to get you out, right?
Yeah.
And so you're just like brothers. You have your disagreements, but most of the time you get along. But you know, brotherhood to me is just know that I'm gonna be there for you, good times, bad times. We might not always see eye to eye, but I mean those things will fix themselves. And you know, I'm not one that holds his grudges. I'm you know, if there's an issue, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna let you know, and then let's just move forward. But yeah, brotherhood to me is just that, you know, somebody that's gonna be there in the moment of your need. So 2 o'clock in the morning, you ever need me, I mean, give me a call. You know, if you need me to help you move something, you know, give me a call. I'm that guy. So, but as far as filling it in, you know, I thought the hardest part was gonna be my identity.
Right.
You lose that identity. And so the process of going into this retirement, man, I thought about it and prayed a lot. And I was just like, man, what is my identity? I'm just known as a fireman, you know, and, you know, my true identity is, you know, I'm a believer, you know,
Yeah.
that's my identity. And my pastor will be so proud of me. It's identity and assignments. My identity never changes. You know, I'm a follower in Christ. I'm a brother in Christ. I'm all that stuff, right? But my assignment changes. And that once I figured that out, everything else just fell in the way it is. So, you know, my assignment today is I just need to be a good husband. I need to have a good workout. I need to be a good dad. I need to be a good friend. Whatever that moment is, that is my assignment. But my identity never changes. So I never really struggled with that once I figured that out.
I love that.
I do miss the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
miss the catching up on their families, how they're doing, the jokes, the what do you call it? Like the I can't even say.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Yeah,
Camaraderie.
yeah. So I miss that from the brotherhood, but I still get calls and texts, and you know, I play golf maybe once or twice a year with some friends. We play a scramble. But when I started going in that retirement, the guys were like, "Hey, let's go play golf. Hey, let's go play golf." You know, and I'm a very addictive person, so I'm like, "All right," you know. So now I play a lot of golf, but it's not to hang out with them, or it's that time to hang out with my wife, and so I still get a taste of it. It's
Yeah.
just not every 48 hours, you know.
Yeah.
So, and you know, you have good friendships when you go up
Yeah.
3, 4 weeks without talking, and then you pick up that phone and talk to them, and it's like you left off from the last conversation. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, damn. So when
Right.
people look up to you, does that add pressure or does it reinforce your discipline?
I don't think it. I think if you're fake, it puts a lot of pressure on you, right? And but the reinforcement is that I'm gonna go out there every day. You know, if you want to come out and tag along, great.
Yeah.
But again, we talked about paths, right? So I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and I'll help you if you want me to help you. But you know, it's hard to hold somebody's hand to the gym and pick that weight up for them. But I'm gonna be your biggest fan. I'm gonna cheer you on.
Yeah.
I'll call and check on, make sure you did it. But as far as pressure, you know, it's not fake. It's you know, it's every day you wake up. You know, like right now I have like a little strained hamstring, so I'm trying to baby it. So wake up at 3 in the morning, put a 20-pound pack on, and let's go walk our little 2 mile walk, right? That's every morning at 3 o'clock. You get home at 4 o'clock, or sorry, you get home at 5. I'm in the gym at 5:30. There's not a, hey, let's go in later. No, 5:30 is dedicated for that time because 5:45, my mind might go somewhere else. So
Yeah.
Sure.
those two are very strict. So the pressure's not there because I'm gonna be there. And so, yeah, that's just how I look at it. But when people say that they look up to me, I mean, to me, I'm not very good when somebody gives me that kind of compliment, right? I don't ever really look for that. So I don't even know how to answer that.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
but I mean, I'll be that guy for you if you need me to.
Yeah.
I mean, no problems.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Here's a question for you that's based off of, or now knowing a little bit more about your questioning how your identity is going to change once you're not in the fire service, as you retire, leaning into your image, being an image bearer of Christ, um, even loving the most part of that hunt in Africa, loving the aspect of feeding, kids that are in need. That all kind of shapes this question. What kind of legacy are you intentionally trying to leave behind?
Legacy. As far as legacy, I just want to be known as a good dad.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the world thinks of me, but my kids, my wife, what they have to tell me. I mean, I stop and I listen, and I just want them to know that I did my best.
Yeah.
And that is what's important to me. Whatever the world wants to think of me or whatever anybody else does, that's great. But my legacy is all to my kids and my wife. And I just want to be a good husband, a good dad, a good grandfather. That's if that's all that they put on my tombstone, man, I made it, right?
There you go.
Definitely mixed.
Exactly.
Love it. Absolutely love it. If someone is listening to this and they're feeling stuck in their workout journey, what's the first hard truth they need to accept?
I mean, are we stuck because we're comparing ourselves?
Oh,
Or are we
oh,
we stuck because you don't see change?
yeah.
Being stuck can mean so many things.
Yeah.
If you were a beginner, you know, build that foundation. Learn how to lift the weights. Doesn't have to be heavy, but learn how to lift the weights. Get ready for that second day to be sore. Learn how to work out when you're sore, right? And listen to your body. This whole I live 7 days. It's great. When I was in the fire service, if I was on shift on a Saturday and Sunday, I lifted 7 days a week. If I was off on one of those days, that was my rest day. And sometimes, as we age, maybe you do need a little bit of rest. But rest doesn't mean sit on the couch
Yeah.
and snack all day. Rest could be like, hey, I'm gonna go get a walk in, or I'm gonna go do some stretching. Like whatever your body is needing, feed that body. But being stuck, you just got to find a direction. It's because you're always sore, or maybe it's because your nutrition isn't where it needs to be, so you're not fueled. Reach out, find a nutritionist, find a diet that fits you. This one size fits all, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, you know, I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes I get stuck. I come in the weight room and I'm thinking, what am I gonna lift today? What am I gonna do? So right now I'm on a mountain tough kick, right? They have a bunch of programs. Man, I could just push play on the
Yeah.
TV and I just follow along with what they're doing. They time the workouts and the rest, and I don't have to think about anything. I just got to pick the weight up and put it down. And sometimes that's all you need, right?
That's
It's
cool.
just that following. Get a partner. My wife, she has killed it. Works out with me, doesn't complain, but when we do these workouts, sometimes they're not easy. I mean, the other day we did a workout on the assault bike, and it was go 500 meters on the assault bike. I wanted to puke, but seeing my wife do the same workout, I don't have a choice, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, find a
Right.
workout partner
Yeah.
that you can hold to and hold each other accountable. Those days that you don't want to work out, man, maybe they're on their high point and you're following them, and maybe the next day you're up here and they're following you, and you guys are just crushing it together. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome.
Closing remarks here. Tomorrow will be 4/11, which is the end of the Conquer 90 challenge for Mountain Ops.
Mhm.
During
You
this
see,
recording.
during this recording,
Yeah.
everybody talks about. Well, no. I mean, we've made it a point to talk about like, hey, 90 days is just the beginning. What's your
Right.
encouragement to all those who are just like, oh my gosh, I didn't do well, I didn't win, I didn't, I got injured, or all the above. Whatever it is, they didn't succeed with their goals. What's your encouragement to them for the other, rest of the year?
Oh, reset, get a plan and continue. Make the next challenge 30 days. Small goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be easy if everybody won that money, right? But first off, have you seen some of those transformations?
Oh,
Dude, they are
dude,
amazing.
yeah, it's gonna be a
Amazing.
tough choice
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would not want to be in that office having to make that decision.
Yeah,
But yeah,
crap.
you're winning already.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
winning. It might not be monetary, but you're winning. Like your life is getting better. You're getting healthy. You're going in the direction that you want to go. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I didn't do the challenge this year. I was in the middle of another challenge and I thought, man, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing.
Sure.
But yeah, man, just you got to have a plan because day 91 is coming, whether you like it or not. It's upon us. So
Right.
old habits can creep back in, and you just lost what you gained the last 90 days.
Yeah.
I always use this time as a reset. If you're on macros, I was 220, right? On macros, I'm 185 different macros. So adjust your macros to where you're at and reset your goal. Make sure they match up. Come out with a plan and keep posting so we can cheer you on. And those days that you don't want to
Nice.
work out, man, scroll. 90% of my motivation comes from watching people do their workout. And I'm like, come on, bum. You got to go to the gym. I mean, it's not always sunshine. I don't always want to work out. I've had long
Yeah.
days. I want to go home. I want to rest. But I get on that page and I'm like, oh man, that guy's work. Look at that. He was grinding this morning. What were you doing this morning? Or whatever. And
Yeah.
so use that to your advantage. And if you're stuck, you don't know what to do, reach out. Just type on the comment, hey, I'm not sure what to do next. You'll have a bunch of people commenting on what you should do. And then just, take the best of it and make a plan. But just remember, it's your plan. Like, make sure it's fit to fit you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is different. So some are up here, some are barely starting, and so you got to get up here. You got to start right here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what everybody's gonna do. But yeah, those transformations are killer. Mountain Ops
Yeah.
has they're gonna have some debates.
That's right. Exactly.
I do want to say thank you for not doing this challenge, so you gave a bunch more of us a chance to win.
Hey, are you
Yeah,
comparing? Are you comparing?
No.
yeah.
Where was the comparison?
You were saying that, in comparison, you were not going to win if he was in. So stop comparing.
Where's the mute button?
There you go.
For you, not me.
Oh.
So
Any,
who's older?
oh, bless your
Drew.
heart. Bless your
Yeah.
heart.
Drew. I
Man,
By
Man,
a
that
lo-
just-
by
bless
Like
your heart and
10
curse
10 years,
curse,
11 years?
Curse your heart. No, I'm sorry.
curse your heart.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no,
bro.
okay, so yeah, I'm 48 as of this week. Leighton, what are
Dude,
you,
you're
30?
almost at 50 and you're killing it. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
shucks. Oh man. Shucks.
Tell me
Leighton, how
how
old are
many
you?
48-year-olds you see on a mountain bike crushing a mountain.
Dude, I can't wait to reveal my next or my recent discovery and win with my back. It's been amazing. So But I'll drop that Easter
That
egg, eggshell, that nugget. We're back to nuggets. Leighton, any closing remarks, questions?
No, I'm all good.
Okay.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
Joseph,
thank you.
yeah, we're honored to have you on. We respect you a ton. Um, we love. I mean, speaking of encouragement, when you're grinding away, it's definitely motivation for us to get after it. And we celebrate you in your retirement, but also as you shift to the things that are next. And it's this interview got me excited for as we went deeper with spirituality, just serving others, stuff like it got me excited to be like, okay, what's Joseph 2.0, going to be about? I
Yeah.
mean, because yeah, you picked up another job, but it sounds like your heart's really interested in and concerned for and serving others for sure. So that kind of heart doesn't stay. I don't think God wastes those hearts,
Yeah.
He'll definitely put you to use. So we're excited, and anything that we can help with, I don't know what it could be, but anything we can help with, hook us up. Like let's figure something out. If we need to tell, Mountain Ops, hey, let's have a Conquer Hunger in Hobbs, New Mexico, or
Right.
wherever it
Right.
may be, let's do it, man. We're on board. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I'm definitely wanting to join them on one of them. Like I said, it's just every time they post one, it's
it's too
man.
quick.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to plan, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. But
Take
I
notes.
definitely enjoy your guys' podcast. I did watch Bacchus the other day, and the guy's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we've been
Thank you.
honored to be in this place, and we get so much of it. So we're glad that other people are getting a lot of it. And I mean, honestly, when we were asking people to be on it, I definitely was like, Vasquez has to be last. I mean, we got one more, but you are definitely to be last because you are looked up to. You are an OG, and a lot of people get a lot from you. So thank you for
The
that. Thank you
OG,
for
because I'm 50, right?
the OGs, baby, the OGs. So,
Yeah,
but blessings to you and your wife. Tell her we said hi.
I will.
Will we see you at the summit this year?
So that is the plan,
Okay.
but it's not definitely like that's the plan. Uh,
Cool.
you know,
Okay.
we you know, I retired. We had a lot of dreams, and we have like this little globe, and we have a bunch of pins,
Yeah.
and of all the places that we want to go. And I told my wife, let's start knocking them off. So we've got a booked year, but the plan is to go in July. I'm just not sure how it's gonna work out. So
Okay.
Cool.
that the
Okay.
plan is to go, and I'll know more closer to that date. But
Yeah.
yeah,
100%. So,
for the-
We'll be there, so hopefully we get to see ya.
yeah, I hope so.
all right,
But
brother. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
thank
Appreciate you.
you,
Yeah.
and blessings to
Thanks,
you
boss.
guys. I appreciate
Blessings to you.
the
The
little
hang.
chat, and keep conquering, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Keep
too,
conquering.
man. Thank you.
Absolutely.